From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, coming to you this week from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, certainly one of Indiana's iconic venues. Indiana! Big news coming from the Speedway this week. Is it May yet? Almost. About a month away now from action on the track.
And Joseph, you got it! Finally wins the Indianapolis 500!
Inside the hallowed grounds of this legendary 2.5-mile oval, this $60.5 million makeover of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, finally crossing the finish line.
When people come through the tunnel, what do they see? They see the museum. We're looking at maybe 250,000 people will go through this museum over the next year. If you take that times 50 years, and that's when Tony started this, that'll be 11 million people will come to this museum and go through it over the next 50 years. So,
the IMS Museum still dedicated to its mission when it was built nearly 50 years ago, which was to preserve, honor, and celebrate the Speedway's rich 116-year history, only now in a much more contemporary and immersive way, like this. Certainly looks nothing like it did when it opened in 1976, the year Johnny Rutherford won his second Indianapolis 500.
I've won the shortest Indy 500 in history. They said I was the first driver to walk into victory lane, which is any way you can take it, I guess.
Outside, new windows and an upgraded facade.
It is time for the Indy 500.
Exhibits like the starting line experience, which puts visitors in a front row seat. To the sights and sounds of race day. And believe me when I tell you, I've been here on race day live from the crack of dawn to the call for drivers to start their engines. This exhibit really puts you as close as you can be to actually being there live. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum is reopening this week after being shut down for renovations for about 17 months. A $60.5 million makeover could make it one of the most visited sites in Indiana.
Hey, the cars be like this.
Mm-hmm. And we have the entire Inside Indiana Business crew out here this week to break it all down. Mary Rachel Redmond focusing on the museum's education component, which is a big part of the new museum. And Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta checking on accessibility improvements for people with disabilities. But first, let's get the big picture of the new Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum with IMS Museum President Joe Hale. Joe, thanks for joining me.
Sure. What'd you think?
I'm kind of speechless. It doesn't happen very often, but coming through here is really amazing. I know that's what you're trying to do with this renovation. How would you describe what you see here?
My favorite part of this, it's been a challenge being closed for 17 months, trying to get people excited about a dream, you know. My favorite part now is just watching people's reaction when they walk in here. There's not one square foot that hadn't been transformed in some way. It's been a complete reimagining of this museum to, as you say, be more immersive, participatory, interactive, educational, but also entertaining. Yeah. And I hope people are going to be entertained.
Yeah. And, the old museum, it served its purpose, certainly, but it become, I think most people would be maybe a little bit stale, maybe a little bit much different than what we see here. That race morning video and the sound effects is really a great way to start it.
Well, it is. And I love seeing people's reaction to that as well. There have been cheers. There have been tears in there. There have been goosebumps as people watch that. And that was exactly our intent. I mean, we are, in some ways, we're promoting the 500. And when there's nothing else happening on the track, people can come here and really get a sense of what the 500's about. We're a bucket list destination.
Yeah, certainly workforce is a big issue in Indiana business today. And I know education and also careers in motorsports are kind of part of the displays here. And one really interactive area focuses on innovation and what motorsports is all about, and maybe getting young kids interested in the sport.
Well, as somebody who many years ago started out as a public school teacher, I have always been focused on education. And we have a new innovation workshop here that really will tell kids in middle school and high school that there are lucrative careers being created right here in Indianapolis in the motorsports industry. If they take the right math and science classes, they'll qualify for some of those apprenticeships and they can go right into them. So they're real opportunities.
In terms of what you anticipate, no way to know now for sure, but this could become really one of the iconic destinations when it comes to museums. Indianapolis has a rich heritage, the Children's Museum and others. This can be right along that.
We hope so. I don't care where you go in the world. If you mention Indianapolis or Indiana, typically we're associated with the 500. And our mission here has been to stay true to our mission of telling the stories of the 500 and celebrating the cars and the drivers, but just doing it in a very different way.
Yeah, and you and I were talking before we went on camera. You've also got a timed entry a program here that may make sense for folks who want to come out.
Especially at the beginning, because we want people to have a quality experience. We don't want them to be slammed in a huge crowd. So we are doing time entries. People can just go to imsmuseum.org and buy their ticket for the day they want and for the time they'd like to come in.
And I know you want me to get this one in. You're still raising money, right?
We are still raising money. We want to add to this collection. We want to do more programming. Yeah. You're going to see a heck of a lot of programming going forward.
Joe Hale, congratulations on a big project. I know a lot of folks will be interested in coming out.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, coming up next on Inside Indiana Business, how the new museum at IMS fits into the bigger picture among other Central Indiana museums.
Because May is a huge month in Indianapolis. Can you guess why?
Is that the Indianapolis 500?
It is at the end of the month. That's right.
Why it could become a can't-miss Indy destination, just like the Children's Museum.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum in the Gasoline Alley area. History, heritage, such an important part of the Indianapolis 500 and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Lots of it throughout this new museum, including this 1914 Duesenberg driven by Eddie Rickenbacker. And really, education for the first time ever here at the museum is a real focus. Some $25 million being spent to focus on education, in particular science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Mary Rachel Redmond has more on that.
Well, Gary, one of the most unique aspects to the $60 million renovation of the IMS Museum is a fresh focus on education for kids of all ages, making it not only a center for racing history, but also a resource and perhaps even a spark for the next generation of learners to get interested in a career in motorsports.
Well, I really want people to come in and find a question or a problem they can solve that then stimulates a passion that now they have connected to the racing world and beyond.
From new interactive exhibits.
It starts with our soft play area, which is really for our younger audiences. They can still gain those basic tool and mechanical skills or learn about the basic concepts of racing.
And why not let your preschooler get behind the wheel of a full-blown IndyCar simulator? Heavy duty.
So you have to put this on higher, but see.
And hands-on. The new and improved IMS Museum is now a place where kids can explore the science, technology, engineering, and math behind racing.
We have found, and research has shown in education, that students learn best through engaging and actually diving in and having those essential experiences that grow their knowledge. So that's kind of what the qualifying zone, our innovation workshop, everything is focused around, is giving them the ability to not only look and read, but actually do something that then they retain the knowledge on or gain that experience that will benefit them in the future. Oh, and there it goes. How did it fix?
By discipline.
Yeah, you got.
And to complement the immersive exhibits is the Innovation Workshop, a classroom where K-12 students can explore the concepts, challenges, and innovations that drive a successful race team.
In our innovation lab, this is focused entirely around STEAM. At its core focus, it's all about problem solving. Students or learners of all ages walk in there and they're able to interact and engage with anything on the floor. So we have a gravity track where they can test how tire width or size or weight placement affects the speed of a car. We have robots that are very low tech that anybody can figure out, but they can use it to learn about the different track types or different tracks in IndyCar and what it takes to actually get a car around those tracks.
I'm going to change a tire.
And with time, this new focus on educating students beginning at a young age on the kinds of careers available in racing may eventually help build a talent pipeline of more Hoosiers working in motorsports.
Obviously, IndyCar is a huge employment opportunity here in Indiana, and we've actually been working with some of our local race teams to figure out what their high needs positions or areas are now and in the future. And we've kind of built things into the space that will use that. So we know for a fact in the next 5 to 10 years, mechanics will be a high need position at Ganassi Racing as our current generation kind of retires out of the field. So we built the different skills into some of our activities. So in our soft play area, you can start with a screwdriver. We'll have kits available in the innovation workshop where they can actually build different cars using screwdrivers and pliers, just feeding them those skills now so that in 5 or 10 years, they might have that interest.
As you can see, education through play in full effect here at the IMS Museum. Gerry, back to you. You want to put on a tire?
All right, Mary Rachel, thank you. I should mention a thank you to my granddaughter, Maddie, too, for doing a great job in that piece. Well, Indiana certainly has always been in the driver's seat when it comes to pushing automotive innovation. The new $60.5 million IMS Museum is a shrine designed to honor, preserve, and celebrate those who helped build the Yard of Bricks. How has this gym elevated itself into a bigger part of the city's already robust world-class museum destination scene?
We get requests from all over the world on how can a visitor experience the Indy 500 if they can't be here on race day? That has happened for decades. And so now with this museum, this experience, this hands-on, very tangible experience, we're able to continue to point visitors into this space year-round to celebrate what we're most known for, what we're synonymous with, the Indy 500.
Well, when we come back, a Bloomington-based company meets Bellerma, as in Bellerma, Switzerland. Details on how a Monroe County pharma company landed its second location in Europe.
To the green at Kokomo. Yo going to dash off into turns 1 and 2. Grant going to pursue the outside, Bacon down to the bottom. It's
Sprint car racing on dirt tracks in small town Indiana. Tremendous history and heritage throughout the state of Indiana. Places like Kokomo Speedway.
Kyle Cummins has it. Logan Seavey wants it. They work to the
It's where many future IndyCar drivers cut their teeth to learn how to race. We're going to take a deeper dive into that during our Business at the Brickyard coverage, all during the month of May here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But right now it's time to shift gears and get caught up on what's making news in the business of health in Indiana with Kylie Valletta. Kylie.
Thanks, Gary. We're having some fun on these new racing simulators at the museum before we get down to business. Let's talk about health headlines making news this week, starting with a Bloomington pharmaceutical company expanding its footprint in Europe.
Singota Solutions, which was founded in 2005 in Bloomington as Bioconvergence, says the new location will be its second pharmaceutical storage facility in Switzerland. The privately owned contract development and manufacturing organization says the expansion in Balerna, Switzerland, will help meet growing demand for its pharmaceutical clients in Europe. Singota says it's proud to call Bloomington home as a one-stop shop for early-stage injectable medicine.
With amazing warehouse, development service, and injectable manufacturing capabilities. However, we have now 3 European affiliates, including that new site in Balerna. We can grow where clients need us to grow because we're not publicly held. We can choose to take the risk and meet the client's needs as they expand.
Singota's third European location is in Italy. And we bring you back now to the IMS Museum, where improved accessibility was a major focus in the design to give the green light to all racing fans. The 3 levels of the new museum are equipped with wheelchair ramps and elevators, and the racing simulators include one that's wheelchair-friendly, and rather than using foot pedals, it can also be fully controlled by hand paddles.
This is definitely a way to
even create more fans and giving something, just offering more to everybody. Even on the employment side of things, having our tour desk counter at an ADA height, so we can open up more jobs to folks and everything in that nature. So we always want to welcome more fans and create new fans.
And we're barely scratching the surface this week, talking about some of the new accessibility and wellness features here at the museum. We'll tell you much more about that coming up in May. Gerry, back to you.
All right, Kylie, thank you. Looking forward to that report during the month of May. Time now to get caught up with business headlines from around Indiana. And for that, we send it back to Mary Rachel Redmond.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Gary, we're up in the air this week with Indiana's first ag drone spraying company and down on the ground with students in Northeast Indiana getting firsthand experience that could lead to a career in manufacturing. But first, a new report out by Ivy Tech on the number of Hoosiers who improve their job skills through non-degree credentials. And it's a big number. The report from Ivy Tech and Techonomy Partners finds that more than 82,000 Hoosiers, an amount larger than the city of Bloomington, will need to increase their skills through certifications, licenses, and short-term training programs to meet the demands of 4 key industry sectors: advanced manufacturing, transportation and logistics, healthcare, and technology.
This is a part of the story that no one's told. And in fact, Indiana is the first state to do a report like this. So getting this number, this 82,000 credentials per year to upskill Indiana's workforce is really a big deal.
The report also identifies the need in the Hoosier healthcare sector as especially acute, with nearly 40,000 annual openings requiring credentials beyond high school and high demand for nurses, medical assistants, and technicians. Now to Northeast Indiana, where a new program is teaching high school students about careers in manufacturing. Students at the Whitco Career Academy in the Whitley County town of Larwell will work with local companies to gain fundamental manufacturing skills, hands-on work experience, and internships. The goal, to connect the classroom with real-world work experiences. As crops begin to grow in fields across Indiana, business is flourishing for the state's first licensed drone spraying contractor. Kyle Albertson is heading into his 6th year of business offering pesticide spraying and other field treatments. He also helps agriculture clients with aerial photography and videography.
With the drones, we can get the whole field, pretty much. We don't have to worry about trees. We don't have to worry about power lines. It does feel kind of surreal that, this would be my 5th year and that we've grown, exponentially.
And Wilbur comes inside of Fox and picks up the lead. And look at Fox come back around.
Whiteland Raceway Park, the country's oldest continuously operating go-kart track, is driving into its next chapter under new ownership. California-based K1 Circuit acquired the track. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. The property is the second outdoor track for K1 Circuit.
That's my reflexes. Gerry, back to you.
All right, Mary Rachel, thank you. When we come back, how the bond with the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is being showcased in a big way here at the new IMS Museum. More on the Penske Gallery coming up next. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Penske. The name is synonymous with success in motorsports, in particular here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. These are some of the suits, the race suits from winning teams from Roger Penske. He's won the race a record 20 times, including last year with Joseph Newgarden behind the wheel. Roger Penske bought the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 2019. And the Penske legacy is being preserved in a special way here at the new Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum through the Penske Gallery.
The opportunity for us to have the Penske Gallery, this is one of the things that when you have the artifacts that we have and be able to show them in this particular environment is amazing. I saw it complete back in Detroit. We actually mocked this whole up in a warehouse.
It's the Penske Gallery, and it's really kind of a tribute and an overview to the impact, the legacy of Roger Penske and Team Penske over the years here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and especially at the Indy 500.
The things that we brought here, the engines, the uniforms, the rings, and of course some really iconic cars are amazing.
199, one to go.
Mr. Penske came here as a 14-year-old boy with his father in 1951, fell in love with the place, fell in love with the race, and that's kind of, spurred his career in motorsports. The very first car that Roger Penske saw drive to victory lane in 1951 is here. Lee Waller drove that to the victory that year. 8 winning Indy 500 winning engines that are on display. We've got a display here that honors the 14 drivers that drove to victory for Team Penske in the Indy 500. We've got the helmets from all the winning drivers, along with the Baby Borg Warner trophies, 20 of those that were presented to Mr. Penske, as you said, championship rings, championship trophies, a lot of team artifacts from over the years, crew shirts, and some of the equipment that Team Penske used, some of it revolutionary in terms of changing the sport.
I would see my favorite place is walking down the hallway and seeing the pictures of the 20 winners. And you think, we got pictures of the winners, we got the program, we got the newspaper, and we got the ticket. So I'm not sure what else we can add. Then we got their uniforms. So to me, it's just special.
We are now in the starting line experience at the new Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. More examples of the Penske dominance. The starting grid, the starting front row from last year, all 3 Penske rides. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Inside Indiana Business. A reminder, we're going to be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway the entire month of May for our award-winning Business at the Brickyard. Stories from throughout the state. Mary Rachel, you're going to be in Winchester, among other places. Kyle, you've got a number of health stories you'll be reporting on as well. We look forward to being here through the entire month of May. I'm Gerry Dick. Thanks for joining us. We leave you with more of that race day experience.